Hello, Amber Vilhauer and Kathleen Quinn here. We are starting a 90-minute live stream right now that is for the person who is out in the world feeling a little overwhelmed, anxious, stuck, unclear, feeling like what is happening, all of this change, and just feeling like, where do I really want to spend my energy? What do I want to do to prepare for my future? What am I really doing all of this for? You might be considering a career transition. You might be in corporate right now as a leader, wondering what else there is for you. You might be an entrepreneur and maybe your business got a little rocked this summer with some of the advancements of AI. Or perhaps you are experiencing extreme success in your life right now. And yet at the end of the day, in your private thoughts and feelings, you're thinking, this doesn't feel right. I'm stressed. I'm exhausted. Like I'm losing myself and my success right now. And you might have this whisper inside that's saying, there's more for you. There's more there. And you're wondering, what is that whisper? What are your blind spots? If this is resonating with you at all, you are in the right place at the right time. Again, my name is Amber Vilhauer, and Kathleen, I will talk to you in just a moment. So thank you. You're doing great. But I want to make sure that I am telling people what this is about before they tune out. I have a business called NGNG Enterprises, which stands for No Guts, No Glory. I founded it in 2007. I'm one of the top producers in the country at launching best-selling books. I also design brands, websites. I help people get their businesses and their voice online. And I am all about getting people into alignment, which by my definition means that you are living in line with your deepest values, beliefs, and needs. And sometimes we don't know exactly what those things are. And my work in my original book, Infinite Impact, helps people to tap into their alignment. Then from there, I help entrepreneurs to find and trust their authentic voice, and then learn the most effective way to get that voice out online so that you are making an infinite impact. You are generating revenue, you have freedom, you're self-reliant in your business so that you can really get your life back and create it whatever you want to experience out of your brand and out of your business. When Infinite Impact was launched, it kind of went boom in the in the world, and that was really exciting for me. And along the way, I had some individuals come to me saying, I just really believe in this alignment work, and I want to be able to get my clients into alignment. That's when we created a certification program where different business owners could get certified as an alignment guide to help their leaders or individuals or entrepreneurs get into alignment so that they could live a life of fulfillment and joy and impact. Kathleen is such a certified guide. In our segment after Kathleen, we have Claudia coming in and then followed by Lynn. All three are certified alignment guides, and they are 3 of 12 contributing authors in our latest book that's coming out September 9th, Infinite Impact, Stories of Alignment. And on this conversation with Kathleen, we're going to go deep into what her brand is, what life was like before alignment, after alignment. Why is this relevant right now? Why are we spending time on it? Completely in service to you. So Kathleen, thank you for your patience while I could let people know why we're here. I am so grateful for your leadership, Kathleen. You know, we've known each other for long enough now to know each other's histories, our stories, our insecurities, our greatest accomplishments, all of the things in the messy middle. And you have such a remarkable story. You have such a powerful voice to share with the world. And I want to start by kind of putting you on the hot seat, if I might get your early permission for that.
Absolutely. I would trust going anywhere with you, Amber.
If you know me at all, you know I go deep fast. So, Kathleen, my question to you is, I want to open this segment by asking you just an open, what is on your heart and mind to share with humanity in this moment, based on what's going on in the world, in your industry, in your world, in your life? there's something that you could share that you want to say the most, let's start there. What's on your mind and heart? I know that's a big
Amber, you say that you jump in and go deep, so that's the perfect first question. I think what I need to say is I see leaders who are struggling with how to navigate AI, our political world, the purpose of the organization they may be leading, and feeling like they don't have a choice right now. They might have thought a year ago, well, maybe I'll retire in the next couple of years. I'm not sure. I haven't really said that to anyone. I've got this person I'm grooming. I know they want to be able to step up, but they feel so unsure and responsible for what they do that they don't know how to even start a conversation with anyone. And that's where I really try to start with them is you have a choice. You have a choice in this world to do what matters most to you and to live in alignment with that so that you can be grounded and free and fulfilled because life is precious. It's something I know well.
I feel the weight in that, it's like this space of the unknown, the uncertainty. It feels out of control and wanting to make right choice, especially as we age, it's like all the decisions feel like they're so critical, each decision. I'm curious, Kathleen, you said the choice to do what matters most to you. And I want to go back into your history. And I'm curious about maybe a time where you might have been in a similar moment where perhaps, you felt the weight of a choice and you wanted to make sure that you were choosing what was what most mattered to you. And is there something that you can share, maybe a story or a time of your life before alignment, so that we can dig a little bit into getting to know you better?
Sure. I had a 35-year career in universities where I helped engage alumni and people in fundraising to think about how they could support the university. And I was at Stanford for 18 years and I became an assistant vice president and I had a big team that I was responsible for. And there was a point in time where my late husband and I were thinking about taking early retirement because he was 12 years older. And so, and I knew I could take early retirement, but I just thought, how can I leave right now? There are things that need to be done. There are people who rely on me. And then I realized the questions were really, who would I be without my colleagues and my purpose and the things I was delivering? Who would I be without my title? Who would I be without my salary?
Oh.
And then would I do enough? And would I have enough to be able to survive? All those questions are exhausting, but they were all on my mind until I made a choice.
Okay. There was a lot there. So somebody is asking themselves these big questions. How do you, as a transformational coach, help your clients through a moment like that? How do you help them to get that clarity? How do you help them to know what's right for their life and if they're doing enough and who they're going to be on the other side of the title and the salary? And like, how do you do that?
A lot of listening and then just really poignant questions. I remember talking to someone who said, I can't leave this job, even though it's really not where I want to be. And I asked, well, what makes you say that? I have to take care of my family. Okay, well, if you leave this job, why wouldn't you be able to take care of your family? I think you might have enough. No, my father lost his job and it was awful. So what happened? And then I get the backstory of what it was like. And I just listen and let them process what we say lives in our body, right? 40 years later, it's still living in your body, how your parents struggled. Even though today you could buy your parents a house and your grandparents a house if you wanted to, because you've done well enough.
Wow.
But that doesn't matter because you still feel this. And so when the conversation got clear that, oh, no, you're right. I'm actually okay. And that won't happen to me. Then you get to make a choice. You get to choose to stay in the job. You get to choose to leave. You get to choose to have a conversation with your spouse about it. And then if you choose to stay, you come in with a freedom that this is my boundary. I will do this work, but I will not work past 6 o'clock because I want to have dinner with my spouse and my kids because they're starting to head off to college. And I want to help them be successful, and I want to model for them good behavior. And so living in anxiety is really palpable to someone's kids. And this person knows it because that happened to them when they were a kid. So when they start to recognize that, and then they realize, oh, I do have a choice in this, and that choice gives you freedom.
Perfectly said. My experience of getting into alignment is that it gives you your life back.
Yes.
It gives you your freedom back. And it was there all along, but we have these beliefs, and we have the absolute insane busyness of our life that is getting, it's so distracting, right? And you're just so exhausted at the end of the day that it's like you just can't see how you can get from where you are to that place of freedom. And you feel like you might have blind spots. So what I love about getting into alignment, and what we've been able to do for so many thousands of people at this point, is really they start to see that clarity. It's so obvious, and it's like it was there all along, but it's like wading through all of the mess and the noise and the distraction and the fatigue and all of the limiting beliefs to say like, oh, this is who I am. This is what I want. And I'm capable of trusting myself. I'm capable of moving forward in this way. So again, we are here because we are coming out with this book, Infinite Impact Stories of Alignment. Kathleen is a featured author with a really juicy story. And Kathleen, I want to move into what was life like for you before alignment. Now, I know that you had experience with your core values and you had a different story than some of the others. There was still this moment of, whoa, this was the piece that I didn't have before. Can you just shine a light on some of that story for the viewers to kind of find themselves through your experience?
Yes. 2018, I retired from my job at Stanford. I became a coach. Life was moving along just really well. Things were fine. And I got to this point where I had discovered this new offering I could do that married my work in philanthropy with my coaching work. And because of a talk I gave, and I proved the concept, and all of it was making sense. And all I would do is sit and write website copy. I wouldn't talk to anyone about it. Couldn't talk to anyone about it. Talk to my friends, but I wasn't promoting it. And someone had helped me get on a podcast, and I thought, I better be able to talk about this. So I wrote furiously, and I gave it to someone who I knew would understand it. And she said the best words to me ever. She said, Kathleen, I understand what you're writing here, but I don't see myself. And I'm your client. You need to have me see myself. And so I said to my coach, Nancy Levin, I said, you've got this avatar. How do I get one of those? Do I pull it off the web? That will help guide me? And she said, no. And she picked up Infinite Impact. She goes, this came out last week. Read it. And I started writing the story of my avatar based on your prompts. And I just fell in love with this story. And I knew that this was what I was supposed to be able to do. And when I got to my values, what happened was, as someone said to me, your values demanded that you be visible. And that's what I had been afraid to be. I had spent so much of my life proving myself to myself that I didn't know how to promote myself.
Wow. So the process for getting into alignment is actually a pretty easy and playful one, all things considered. Now, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So what I did is I took 4 common business pillars: avatar, vision, why, and values. I turned it into a process that's really just a 20-minute visualization. You close your eyes. Through this series of prompts that Kathleen is talking about, you can see your avatar, the one person you are uniquely qualified to serve in the world with your business. by getting to know that vision, it's really just an imaginary person sitting in front of you. And by asking them questions, by getting to know their deepest thoughts and feelings and desires, it becomes so clear to you what your vision is. Not the I want to help a million people, which is a beautiful vision. It's more of what do you want to do in service to your avatar every day. For me, it was to feel heard, seen, and valued. That's what I want to give to my Heather. Through this visualization, you can also uncover your why, which is not just because I want to help people, which is beautiful. That's what most people say. But the why I propose is your deepest unmet need. Usually something that we craved in childhood or adolescence that we didn't get. So for me, I was bullied a lot in high school. I didn't have very many friends. So what I really craved was belonging. I also found myself in situations where I felt very trapped, manipulated a lot. I subjugated power to other people because I didn't have self-trust. Therefore, I didn't feel free to trust myself to make choice. I was always relying on other people. So my unmet need was discovered throughout this process by really getting to know Heather, my avatar, because we share the same unmet need. This was great power because now that I have clarity and the awareness of this through a 20-minute visualization and maybe a little bit more time unpacking it and understanding it, all of a sudden I realized, Kathleen, that I can market only to Heather.
Right.
And all of the people like me and Heather that share similar values, beliefs, and needs, you're one of them, Claudia, Lynn, all the people in my network have similarities to Heather. And they just start attracting in because they say, you're my people. Where have you been? Gosh, this feels so good to be around you. There's belonging, there's freedom. This is great. And the more that that happens in my business, the more I feel belonging and free too. And it's wonderful. So I'm achieving my vision. I feel deeply fulfilled. My own needs are met. Like this is my work in the world to teach entrepreneurs this. But we can also, as we'll see with Lynn and perhaps Claudia, see that this isn't just for business owners either. It's for individuals. It's for anybody out in the world. So Kathleen, back over to you. I want to zero in on what you uncovered in the process of alignment. What is your unmet need and how has knowing that shifted your life experience?
My unmet need is joy. And I will say, many of my friends would be like, what do you mean? I had a good fortune of being raised in a good life. I had a good fortune of a profession I loved. I had a good fortune of marrying the man of my dreams. I also lost him 4.5 years ago to pancreatic cancer. And that's when life shifted. And there were pockets of joy, but there weren't. And I share that only because when you can realize that life can still go forward once you've grieved, life and continue to grieve, life still goes forward and you can find joy. And I was able to find joy again. And I define it as the opposite. The opposite of it is not sadness. It is loneliness for me. When I thought about it, happiness and sadness are opposites. But for joy, for me, it was loneliness. So what loneliness is lack of belonging, lack of connection, lack of impact. And that's what I get being in this world of working with people who are seeking a space to just say what's true, where they don't feel like they have anyone else they can talk to about it because they think maybe it's not even right for them to think these things. Maybe it's not right to want more. Maybe it's not right to want to leave everybody that you've built up and trained in your organization behind at a critical moment. Maybe that's not fair. And yet they have the choice and they can find joy too, because it's probably been lacking for a little while.
Oh my gosh. I'm thinking of so many clients, people I know that I can feel them like, oh my gosh, she's speaking my language. They, have these successful careers. They have the successful families. They have abundance. And yet at the end of the day, it's like they're shrinking inside. They're dying inside. They feel like lonely in their life experience and they don't know what to do about it. It's like, it's literally taking the oxygen out of their experience.
Right.
And when I'm engaging with them, it's like you can see that spark of life come back a little bit. It grows a little bit at a time, you know? And so I'm imagining, Kathleen, the people that you talk to, these successful professionals and leaders, I can imagine that when they're listening to this right now, they're thinking, when's the last time I felt joy in my career or joy in my relationship or joy just being alone? Like, when is the last time, like, true blissful joy? So now let me ask you, joy, okay, is your unmet need. How has knowing that shifted your life? Like, can you give me a tangible example of maybe something that you've experienced that you do things this way now, whereas before knowing that you did it another way? Is there any kind of contrast in the day-to-day mundane that comes to mind?
I talk about my work. I'm sorry, didn't mean to talk.
No, you're
I
good.
talk about my work with such joy because I love what I do. I can't talk about the people as much as I would love to talk about the actual humans, because I protect them. But I love to talk about the impact of my work. I love to hang up from a phone call and feel like that person just exhaled over whatever it was. They exhaled and they found some space to be themselves, to just enjoy the creative side of their life and not just the numbers side of their life, to enjoy time with their family and not just worry about the social justice that they do, right? That they can enjoy the things because life is precious. And if you don't experience the joy, you're not bringing your whole self to the table in whatever it is that you're doing. So for me, it's talking about my work and how much I love it. And people, my friends, say to me how Michael would be so pleased for me that I have built this piece to my new life now. Because his only request of me was to struggle to stay open to life. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what this work has given me. It's what you've given me, Amber.
Wow. And I just think to myself, like, what if I had stayed small in the world? What if I continued to hide? Yes. What if I didn't make that choice to see what that whisper was about, you know? And you'll do this in your own life, right? On the other side of alignment, it's like, what if Kathleen never experienced this work? Right. Think about all of the people that you are impacting in groves through speaking, your colleagues, your peers, your family, your friends, like your light is on. And like, I can imagine what the world would be like if your light was just a little more dim, you know?
Right.
And to those of you that are listening, like, maybe your light is a little dim right now. And what would it be like if you could crank that up? You know, so Kathleen, if we have, you know, people in the audience right now that are like glued and they're thinking, she's really speaking to my soul, right? And this is hitting in a place that most content, most information, most posts, it's not landing in the same way. What does that mean? What is an action that we want that person to take to listen to that calling and take a step forward? What would you recommend, given your work? How do people take that next step forward?
Go for a walk outside. Take your phone and just start recording all the things that you feel in your heart that you haven't said to anyone. And when you get done with that, you could order our book and read it. You could go to KathleenAQuinn.com and you could sign up for a free conversation with me to just share what you took away from it. But I really think what it is take this moment and what you're feeling right now to say, I have a choice to get clarity about what matters most to me, and I'm going to live that way. I'm going to be grounded, free, and fulfilled.
Beautiful. I'd like to share my screen for just a moment. So I'm going to add my screen to the stage. Thank you, Megan and my team. They're, you know, posting those links at the bottom of the scrolling bar here. This is our book sales page. You'll see the book here. This is my homepage, but you'll start to see some of the authors here. There's 12 contributing authors. And if you click through to the primary book sales page, you'll see you can pre-order a copy of the book on whichever retailer as your choice. Most people go to Amazon. Then you can come back and you can collect different bonuses that we have available for you. One is that I will be leading a 4-week group alignment coaching program that you get free access to if you just buy one copy of the book to support our launch. One copy, and then you get access to a 4-week group alignment coaching program with me. Kathleen will be there. You'll also get a copy of the original Infinite Impact so that you can look at that, as well as some other training materials. But Kathleen has submitted some bonuses. And Kathleen, I'd like to give you the chance to talk about those briefly for me.
Sure. I have a couple of videos where I just help you walk through what it might be like. Where are you now, and what might it be like to get in alignment, and what might hold you back from being willing to do it, even if it seems like a good idea. And then I have a little action guide. Some people like to work through a workbook. You don't have to be the A student. You don't have to complete it. It's just that may be your way of learning. And then I offer a discount for an alignment session with me. But I'll tell you, do the 4 weeks with Amber. It will change. Right? And I'll be with you. I'll be with you. And then we can do work together after that. But it really is life-changing.
Yeah, and it's so fun for me because you have so many people that return to get into alignment again, except it's not so much that they're getting into alignment for the first time. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's no going back, right? So what happens instead is you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the work, which actually reveals so much to you about yourself. There's so much healing from past experiences. You let go of resentments and loneliness. You build up this love affair with yourself. It's like self-love on steroids. And all of a sudden, you just feel more and more free in the world. And each person that has gone into alignment will validate what I just shared. So we do these alignment, whether one-on-one or in a group setting, and we make it as available to everybody as possible. So, and they come back over and over again. It's pretty cool. Okay, so Kathleen, I'm just about to bring Claudia on the stage, but before I do, any other words of wisdom you feel called to share? Anything that feels unsaid? Anything you want to say to Grace, your avatar?
You're more than enough. You've done enough. You have enough. Decide what matters most. Get that clarity.
Wow. And Kathleen,
stay on and listen to Claudia and Lynn because they're both really cool, just like Amber.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you, Kathleen. You are so special. I really appreciate your honesty and your story. It was a phenomenally written chapter. Thank you for being here today, for your leadership. And we'll welcome Claudia to the stage. Yes, thank you so much. Well, hey there, girlfriend. How you doing? Thanks so much for coming. What do you think of our live stream so far, Claudia? How's it going?
Oh, I've been enjoying it so much, and I'm happy I was not the first one because this thing activated me in listening to you guys.
Oh man, if you are new to Claudia and you are not following her on Instagram, you got to go do that immediately. She is so much fun and she is so effective in her work, and she is just such a joy. She adds value to any room that she's in. And this is a special treat for me to interview you and be a part of the conversation. So Claudia is another contributing author in Infinite Impact. Stories of Alignment comes out September 9th. And Claudia, I started this live stream by talking about the history of Infinite Impact and my work in the world. And then I invited Kathleen on and I asked if I could put her in the hot seat. And I thought that was pretty fun. So I'm wondering if I have your permission to put you in the hot seat as well.
That's like what I'm here for.
There's a lot happening in our world, a lot of disruption, a lot of noise. A lot of people are burning out. A lot of people are disillusioned. What's even real anymore? Feeling like a loss of control. And I'm not a doom and gloomer. If you followed me at all, just the opposite. But this is the reality that a lot of people are faced with. And it's getting harder and harder for people to know how to cope with so much going on all at the same time, top of our normal responsibilities. So Claudia, with that framing, I'm curious about your vantage point, your experience, and more. What's really on your heart and mind to share? I mean, with everything you're seeing and feeling and experiencing in your clients, like, what's the thing that you want to bring forward to humanity in this moment?
Thank you, Amber, and thank you so much for creating this space for all of us to share about our stories and our practice, and why our purpose really in the world. And I have to say that as I hear you ask that question, the thing that pops up really, really deeply is that we have to hold on to our humanity. I think that is the key to dealing with everything, but not only dealing and coping, but actually create a space where we become creators, where we touch with ourselves, with our human nature, with our creator nature, to fully show up in the world, and not from a place of fear or a place of reaction or resentment or judgment, but that we can truly show up and be the creators that we're here to be. That's the human experience.
Yeah.
And so I feel that that transcends like every aspect of our lives, right? Like that's at home, that's at work, that is to do whatever it is that you want to create in the world.
So let me ask you, I have Heather, my avatar, who's listening to this right now. I just, all the Heathers.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I hear you, Claudia, loud and clear. I want to show up fully in the world, but I just can't. I'm hurting. Like I feel like, what's the point? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
I feel scared of what other people are going to say or how they're going to react, because I don't really know what people are going to say and how they're going to react right now. It just feels scary. I feel her saying, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm a mom. I'm holding things up. I have my career. I'm trying to keep my marriage together. And, it's just hard. When you have somebody like that, Claudia,
Yeah,
that has the desire, they have the want, they see it, they know that humanity is, they believe everything you just said, but what's the thing that somebody can do that actually activates them into action, into decision, that actually makes them have a shift in their life through your coaching experience, perhaps? I'm just curious what comes up for you around that.
there's a few things. One of them is take a deep breath. Anchor yourself in the present moment and like really just feel your embodiment. Truly, like feel your body, feel where it hurts, feel where the tension is, feel the breath, and really be present to that. Because I think that when I think about it, even from my own moment that I talk in the book about, of being in the kitchen doing my dishes, in a way, it's like I was so absent-mindedly present to some degree, doing with the water and kind of like just focus on what I was doing, that allowed my soul to speak to me.
Outstanding. Yep.
And so I think that is creating a little bit of those spaces of quietness. They don't have to be long. They don't have to be exclusive. They don't have to look like anything. I was doing dishes. But it's more about knowing, and this, I say it with all my heart, there's nothing inside of you that you should be scared about. Anything that comes through you, to you, is the truth. And so I think that if I can persuade anyone to approach those moments with curiosity and not with fear, and kind of really be present to themselves as if they're present to their best friend, to the people they love in their lives, unconditionally. That's where it starts for me. It starts with cultivating that unconditional love with ourselves. And that doesn't mean we're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean everything else is going to be perfect, but it means that our internal universe starts to be more calm, more organized, more meaningful, like, again, connecting with that place of creation as opposed to constant responding, and going in all directions. Chaos.
Yeah, gosh, that was such profound insight. I was taking a bunch of notes. This is being recorded. It will stay up on as a replay for all of you who want to go back and watch that segment again. That was really powerful. And a couple of things came up for me. One was years ago, I got a fortune cookie, and the fortune cookie said, "Do the thing you fear.
Mm.
The death of fear is certain."
Yeah.
So do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. And when I got that darn fortune cookie, I just thought it was one of the most profound things that I'd ever heard. And I thought, I have oceans of fear inside of me. And I don't want to live like that anymore. I'm afraid of everything. I'm afraid of getting hurt. I'm afraid of success. I'm afraid of visibility. I'm afraid of my power. I'm afraid of like so many different things. Truly, that was my experience. Nobody knew it on the outside, but that was loud on my inside. And when I got that fortune cookie, I thought, oh, I don't want to live like that anymore. So if I just lean into it, it disappears. And the PS to the story is yes. And it was the way to freedom. So it took me years to methodically move through all of those fears. If I didn't have so much fear, maybe it would have happened a lot faster for me. But I do think if you resonate with feeling afraid or insecure, leaning into that and not being afraid of what else there is. There's not a boogeyman there for you on the other side. It's actually just the opposite. On the other side of leaning into it, it is the most blissful, free, exciting, energizing, healing space. It's like
Right.
really, really cool.
You know what I love about what you just said is that it's that concept of like fear is just data. Fear is pointing you to those spaces, because believe me, I was also running away from my truth for a very long time. Even if in the exterior, I also look very put together and and thankfully I have a joyful personality that did a lot of work for me. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't chaos inside of me. And I think that this is exactly why I think I'm here, because of that experience, and truly conquering that fear of what might come up, of like what is the truth on the other side. But as I have learned from all the teachers, and you included, is that there is only beauty on the other side. There's only love.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the fear comes from this little kid inside of us that doesn't have the tools, doesn't have the brain development to cope with what's going on around them anyway. So that's the side of you that's like, I can't handle the truth.
Right.
But actually, you're a grown adult now, and you have tools and you have support and resources and a fully mature and developed brain to be able to handle the truth. So that's why, I love that you said it's just data. And I also love that you said, I was just doing the dishes. Like that's what I was doing. And it is interesting when you can separate your brain from your truth. I call that truth your intuition, your gut instinct. There's another voice inside of us that's like an emotional guidance system. And your brain is over here like, chaos, overwhelm, burnout, all this stuff, trying to keep you safe. Like that's what our brain is doing. But really deep down, if we can just be present for a moment, just right here, you and me, present in this moment, breathing. What happens is this other side of you activates, and it knows the truth. It's not actually chaos. You're not out of control. You can start to see like, oh, I'm just sitting in my desk and nothing has changed. Like I'm safe in this moment. It's okay. I've done hard things before. I can do them again. And so this is some ways of like just slowing some of that down to hear what naturally wants to emerge. And Claudia, I'm curious for you. as it relates back to getting into alignment, what was that like after the dishes, let's say, where you've gotten into alignment, and you're welcome to talk about any pieces of that you want to, but what really shifted? What was the awareness that came in on the other side of alignment that maybe you didn't have prior to that, or that was just activated? Anything come up for you there?
Yeah. And one of the things that, first of all, I think I call sort of like my original sin, because I come from a Catholic background, was shame. And I was I was judging myself all the time. I hadn't accepted myself.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Which again, but it's also part of understanding that that is part of the human experience.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with you if you feel it. And obviously it's something that childhood, as you mentioned, shaped in some ways, and being, conditioned as you were growing up to be liked and accepted and to feel safe. But at the same time, as you also said, we're adults now, and we're here. We're not here to suffer through it. And so the best thing that we can do is start to connect with ourselves to create that change. And for me, that sense of shame has really, I wouldn't say disappear, because again, I think it's just part of being vulnerable. It's part of being human. But I understand it now. I know what it is. And when you can name it, you can react to it. And I think that it's also something that then has to transform into complete self-acceptance. Or, I love the term was popular a few years ago, but the radical self-love or radical acceptance, right? And I think that that's what it comes down to. And so what that looks like in the everyday is that, before I would wait for like the outside validation or the kind of like the activation, the stimulation of like, let's do this, and sort of like kind of waiting for my environment to tell me what I could do with my time and my energy and all of that. Where now I'm more of my own creator, and more of, I learned to say no.
That's not easy, by the way.
And to people. And it's still difficult in some circumstances, but this is the other thing that I would say that has happened. It's that now I sort of realize that reframing is your friend. So you can reframe anything. So again, like if you're feeling these like chatter, you can judge it and be like, oh, why is my brain working like this? Or you can be like, what's my brain trying to tell me? Why am I listening to all of this chatter? And just like, again, bring the curiosity, because I think that that's how we develop a more, I'm sorry to repeat the word, but like friendly relationship with ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important. I mean, so many people don't have that, and that's why we have to normalize this. That's why we are launching this book. That's why we are getting our raw, honest stories out into the world. It's because we understand this isn't normal to be doing a live stream talking about these things. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
People, as Kathleen Flanagan, one of our authors in the book, says, people are suffering in silence. Mm-hmm. And, it's my work in the world to help emerging leaders that have that whisper. There's something more. I could be of service here. Gosh, humanity is hurting right now. I help them to get the confidence to be visible, to normalize their topic, right? Because only then can we reach the people that are like, oh my gosh, I don't have anybody to say this stuff to, but gosh, this is what I've been feeling, Claudia. Like I have these thoughts and I have these feelings and I'm observing and I think this is what's possible, but I don't know how to get from here to there. And it's complicated. Yeah. But now if we can normalize it through this book, right? 12 contributing authors, their stories of alignment. You've heard about some of Kathleen's story. We're hearing some of Claudia's. Lynn is coming up soon. We'll be continuing to have these conversations, follow the authors online to really understand their perspective, their frame, what they had to go through, because I can promise you that you will find resonance with at least one author's story. And that one author who was brave enough to share what was really going on helped you feel less alone, less nuts, less crazy in the world. And then what could it be like to get support to really understand what's going on the inside so that you can bring your whole self to your kids and to your marriage and to your friendships and to your finances and your career and your community and everything else. So this isn't just for entrepreneurs. It's not just for leaders. It's for individuals of any shape and size who has whatever feelings that you have about the world. And it's just a way of tapping back into the truth of who you are and getting that clarity and wiping away some of that noise and really moving out into the world in a way that will naturally be a model for people that are scared to do that same thing. But they see you and they're like, well, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. And imagine the infinite ripple of that impact going out into the world, now impacting future generations, because they have a different model for leadership and success and what it means to be a mom or a dad or whatever, right? So Claudia, coming back into your experience of alignment, I'm wondering if you can tell me a little bit more about your unmet need and how coming into alignment, what it activated in you, what surprised you in this process, or even how it's shifted the way you show up in the world now. What's really that difference, and as specific as you can?
So my unmet need, interestingly enough, I had always knew that freedom was my North Star. And I actually did a few rounds of the alignment session. And my first round, it was freedom. It came really natural. It's what it was. But then as I went deeper and got to fully meet my avatar, Mary, and truly see her through that lens of grace and love and, connection, then I realized that my true unmet need was safety, because I needed to feel safe before I could feel free. And what that means to me is free to express myself, free to say no, free to accept myself and let go of that shame and that judgment and that struggle. And what I would say is that, I feel lighter in the world. I kind of laugh because people around me might not be liking my alignment because I'm a lot more self-expressed. For good and for not so, like I'm not the same sort of accommodating person all the time. Of course, my true nature is there. I love my people. I accommodate them. But, I think that there's a little bit of correction that happens, because when you're showing yourself more freely, and in my case, I know I have my back no matter what happens. I'm here for me. My love now is unconditional. I'm gonna mess up. I used to be a perfectionist. That's not showing up as strongly anymore. Again, I used to be a people pleaser. That's not showing up as strongly anymore. I used to validate my entire life based on the feedback I got from people. And now it's beautiful because it's not about validation, but about true connection. And everything any message that I get, any feedback, I take it I celebrate it. I can accept it. It was really hard for me to accept any, to be fully visible and to accept any positive feedback. And so, I have a bigger commitment to myself. I'm more consistent in my exercise. I'm eating and exercising differently. I'm doing life differently. I am feeling in my body differently. So that is what it has meant for me. It's that it's safe to be me. And so the discovery the adventure now is, what are all of those ways that I can explore that? Because it's not now about have become, it's about continually becoming. It's about, once you reach a level, you want to go, you get to go to the next level, and you get to keep exploring. So I think that, yeah, like now to me, having that safety, it just lets, it allows me to have a lot less sort of questioning, like sometimes, because this is me, like I would get, as I said, my personality is like a little wild, and so sometimes I would be like in the middle of a party and I'm having fun and I'm dancing and I'm doing crazy stuff, and then the self-conscious me would be like, what the fuck what are you doing? And then I will sit myself down and and then start the movie of like, how could I do this, and blah 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 blah. And now I'm like, no, let's go, let's do this. And if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. And it's very interesting. I have found that how that feels in my body is actually as peace and serenity. It's not that excitement. It's more of like, oh yeah, I'm just being.
Wow. So much there. I have chills.
I know. This is really motivating me.
Part of it is I just resonate with it personally on such a deep level. We have so many different sides to ourselves, and we have the business side, and then we have this person's side, and then that person's side. And it's pretty exhausting having to shift roles all the time. And then, at the end of the day is when I would shame spiral big time about all the things I didn't do or should have said, or ruminate on something that didn't sit well with me. And then what does this mean about me and my future? And and I just would create this internal chaos, not also realizing that it's the chaos that felt familiar to me because that's what I felt growing up. So I was breeding this experience that's what felt normal to me. That's what felt safe to me, which is you feel like a crazy person sometimes when you realize this about yourself. But it's also such a blessing to recognize that, because it's like, no, I can be safe in the world without that chaos. I can actually be safe to be me, to say what I want to say, to not have to put everybody else's needs in front of my own. And it's not selfish to honor my own needs, but it's actually what helps me be more in service to people in a better way. And just redefining some of these things in our lives, that it's time to redefine them. It's time to face and revisit it, because otherwise another 10 years are going to go by, and then another 10 years. And just imagine how old you're going to be 20 years from now. Do you still want this to be your life experience? And I know for me, as I was getting closer and closer to 40, I was so exhausted, Claudia. I was just exhausted from holding up all of those different sides and having to shift between them and having to fight myself all the time. And I just thought, if I'm exhausted now, and, it's not going to get easier from here. Like, I'm climbing the uphill battle into aching and, aging and all of that. Like, I have to find a more natural way of existing in this world, because this is not helping me. I'm not showing up as the mother I want to be for my son. And that's what kind of started to unravel a lot of this for me. And it was such a beautiful journey of really seeing the way I was looking at the world, like people pleasing, just so that I could fit in. I always wanted to fit in. I always wanted to be chosen, belong, safe. These are basic human needs that I kind of didn't have growing up. So you can see that people pleasing was like, will you be my friend? Can you belong? Can I belong with you? But now, like, when you get to revisit that, it's like, that's not, I can belong in a different kind of way. It's not that one way. There's lots of different ways you can create belonging. And I just hadn't taken the time to really sit and think about it. until this process emerged, right?
I love what you're saying, because for me, that connected with that safety, right? And then it became belonging with myself first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
and then my people.
Mhm.
Which also, by the way, so nobody gets scared, I haven't lost any friends. I still
Either
have.
I just gotten more friends. Like, how does that work? I don't know.
Exactly. So what has happened is more like there's a deeper connection. And even the ones that are not interested in that deeper connection, we still can hang out and we still can have a good time. Like, this is not, because I have to say, for me, that was a big fear as I was doing my work, was like, am I gonna lose all of these people because I don't know who I'm gonna become? And I am here to say you're not.
No, it's
You're
not.
not.
It's not like that.
And in fact, it's just gonna get better.
Getting into alignment is like getting right with yourself.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to think about it, because it doesn't have to mean you have to bulldoze your life. If anything, all of a sudden you are more connected with your friends and family and your work. Like Kathleen talking about, I have so much joy when I'm talking about my work now. It's the same work.
Yeah.
It's just that Kathleen refined, got a little deeper, more right with her in that way. And that's what created this extra joy in how she communicates about her work. So Claudia, I get to bring Lynn on here in just a second. And I want to ask you, for all of the Marys that are out in the world and they're thinking, gosh, I'm listening and this feels like you're speaking directly to me, but I'm scared. And I know you said to get curious and not to be afraid. And she's like probably going through this checklist of things in her mind right now. But what would you say, like, is the next step that she can take to really feel like move into this work in a safe way? What
Yeah.
would you say?
Yeah. First of all, I would say honor the discomfort,
Hmm.
and just know that it is your internal GPS, so to speak, telling you that you need to move location. And so
Yeah.
honor that. And as I said, I would say then reframe. Like, whatever you're feeling, don't ask the paralyzing question, but find a way of making it an invitation to say, what are you actually trying to tell me here? What am I feeling? And stop the judging, because I know how easy it is. We do it without even realizing that we're judging ourselves.
Mhm.
And then I would say, try to make space to do, even if it's a little tiny thing, something that feels exciting to you, that is just for you. And it can be tiny, 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 or daring, and something that, just like with that little thing, you're getting closer to that new version of you, as opposed to uh, where you have been.
Mhm.
Just one tiny change at a time. And then give yourself permission to change your life. It sounds really basic, but
No, we all need permission. Come on.
we all need permission to actually say to ourselves the truth, and allows ourselves to feel it. And there's one last thing I want to say, and this is because, my Marys, I absolutely love you and adore you. And you are so much more beautiful and valuable than you give yourself credit for. And you have the feedback of the world telling you, but I know you are having trouble letting that in. And I'm here to tell you, it is possible to let it in. You are unique and precious, and you have something to give to the world. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Whoa, I love that. You know I would. Woo. Well, Claudia, you impress every time. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your heart, and just how much you are living in alignment. You are modeling for us what is possible, and I see it. It's inspired me. It's shifted my life. I want to thank you for that. Everybody, I will share this with you. Oops, I thought I already had my screen up, but let me just take 1 second to get it back. I know Megan's been sharing on the screen, getinalignment.com/anthology. This is where you can learn a little bit more about the book. If we scroll down, you can see all of the contributing authors. We will continue having live stream conversations into next week. We have another 90 minutes with Jeff and with Michael and with, Amber Burdett. And those are going to be other conversations with certified guides going deeper in the way that we are here. Then on September 9th, we have our book launch, and we will be hosting a virtual launch party with all of the authors, which is going to be your chance to connect with them and celebrate them. If you get one copy of the book, you can come back and claim your bonuses, which are all listed here, including a 4-week group alignment program that I am hosting. And most of the people that you are seeing here live will be at that program as well. For those of you coming to my Boulder event, September 10th, 11th, and 12th, most of the contributing authors will be gracing the stage. We're going to have a big celebration and a champagne toast and deep dive interviews and book signings. It's going to be amazing. So Claudia is going out of town, so she is unable to participate in the summit, but she will be there in person, and we'll be able to see her on the live stream launch party. And I just want to thank you again so much for sharing your heart with us, Claudia. You're the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. And last but certainly not least, my friend Lynn Carpenter, who has such a special place in my heart. And, Lynn learned about this work through Michael Mamina and Nancy Levin and some of the other folks that you have that are just in this book, in this world. And Lynn had a lot come through her in the process of alignment. She saw the vision that I saw in it, which was really unique to our relationship. And she saw the global application for it. She saw humanity, what people are going through, and how alignment can really help anybody and everybody. And so it was kismet. It was starstruck right off the gates when I met Lynn. I was so deeply grateful and honored that she wanted to bring her light and her intuition and her expertise into becoming a certified alignment guide. And then even beyond that she wanted to contribute a chapter that, Lynn bared her soul in this chapter. It was a very big deal to write this the way that she did. And so, Lynn, I just honor you. I respect you. I'm grateful that you're here to have this conversation. And in the way that now I'm just on a roll here, so I'm having fun with this. But when I brought Kathleen and Claudia to the stage, I asked if I could put them in the hot seat. And I'm wondering, can we finish strong? Do I have permission to put you in the hot seat and ask you a big question right out of the gates?
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. And Kathleen and Claudia were so beautiful. And I'm just honored to step in here, and I'm like, oh, they shared such beauty. And my whole heart is, I hope that I can share such beauty with the viewers and the audience here, just for us to have meaningful connection right here, right now.
Yep. Then you will make that happen naturally. So my question for you is, is so much happening in the world right now. Heather, my avatar, is somebody who thinks that she has a book in her, but then she invalidates it, and she's like, well, what would I say? Or who am I to put a book out? And she has such a unique perspective on the world. And, she sees what's out there, and it makes her feel good to be a part of the solution. She wants to help other people, but then she struggles with visibility. She implodes mentally and emotionally. She just has this confidence issue. She doesn't have a lot of self-trust, but there is stuff in her that she thinks is valuable and meaningful, and she doesn't know what to do with it. And I know that based on our alignment work, your avatar and your in-person human clients can relate a lot to that. So with that frame, my hot seat question for you is, what is on your heart and mind to share with humanity? Blanket statement with everything you're seeing, observing the clients, your own stuff going on, everything that's out there. What do you really want to share? How do we start this conversation?
Yeah. First off, I want to say, and I had a beautiful reminder of this week, is just how precious life is. Our time here, so precious, who we connect with. So that's, again, and what I so innately connected to my values in doing this work of getting alignment is meaningful connection. And I just am reminded over and over of how important that is. And it's so important because we have a lot that has been taking place in our society that has caused a decrease at times in that connection. I know I've even at times have felt it, that meaningful connection. So I'd say life is precious, our connection with one another and how we can show up in the world. And also to your Heather and to my Samantha, who are our avatars, you know, when you have this internal feeling, it's this whisper for more. I so understand what that is. I like to tell people I've had a long-term intimate relationship with my inner calling, and that inner calling will present itself and you'll have this whisper that there's more for you. There's more for you to engage with, to expand on, to experience, to impact, you know, the people in the world around us. And it's can be so easy to push aside and to be looked at as I'm being silly to think or feel that I have more in me, or there's something I want to go towards, or I see, or I can visualize, or I sense myself doing this. We can at times feel like we're silly or have judgment, or who are we to think this? But also there's another piece that we can almost get a little excited or energized by it too. So that battle in itself can be really interesting. And I really love the opportunity when I can help my clients to sort through that.
So I'm reminded of, I was talking to someone in my community today, Tom. Shout out, Tom. You know which Tom you are.
I do love Tom.
And in that, I was saying that, you know, I was really being vulnerable. And I was saying, you know, the last 4 years or so were so difficult to, just for not alignment reasons. It was outside of that. Just a lot has unfolded in my life. There was a lot of change. There was a lot of uncertainty. And I hired a coach because you can't do this work alone. And I don't mean alignment work even. Like I don't want to do stuff alone. There's stuff I can't see. I need help getting out of my own way. So I am always hiring a coach or a mentor. I have a team that supports me to be a high performer. And I was saying how Dimitri, my coach, gosh, who I owe my entire life to, you know, he's like, Amber, just go. And you know what to do. And I'm like, but it's so uncertain and it's so scary. I need proof that it's going to work before I act. And he's like, no, you've got to act to get the proof. And I'm like, yeah, but that's backwards from how I want it to be. So I just need the proof that it's going to work before I actually step in and make the change. And I knew that was so silly. I knew he was right, but there was this other side of me that like, it was so hard to just trust and move forward into something that I didn't have all the answers for. And so Lynn, you are an incredibly intuitive, powerful, transformational coach. I just had one of your clients reach out to me personally this week to say how much you have absolutely opened them up and changed their lives. So my question to you with all of this, using your intuition, your transformational life coaching powers, what would you have said to me in the moment back then where it was like, Lynn, I think I see what needs to happen, but I don't have all of the answers yet. I'm uncertain. So should I wait? What should I do in that moment where I feel like I need the proof before I act? But I, you know, that moment of like tension and confusion. Do you have any wisdom that's coming through you right now to help me in that moment?
I do. And it's, I would ask, I do. I do. I would ask you a question that I asked myself around the same time. I'd say it was about 5 years ago. And it was when my inner calling started to speak to me again. And I was being called to step out of an amazing career. And I was being called to step out from that. And when I was wondering, because I didn't have the certainty with it, and the question I asked myself is, if I don't try and step towards that and take action and go for it, can I live with myself? And so I did a fast forward to the end of my life. Would I be satisfied? Would I be okay? Would I have regret? And for me, that answer was yes, I would have. And I couldn't live with that.
Yeah.
And so what I can say for myself, and I know this is true for others that have that, just like for you, Amber, that oftentimes when you're stepping out and you're going towards what you're called for, it's a soul journey. And that's on a whole new level. You know, it's sacred, it's meaningful, it's purposeful. And there's not always the take this step one, take this step two. So it is very much trusting the intuition. And I'd say for anybody, ask yourself that question and allow the answer to guide you to your next step.
Wow. So you obviously in your story, you know what life was like before this experience of getting into alignment, even like, let's say the days leading up to it versus what happened after. Can you shine a light on some of that distinction as specifically detailed as you can, just so that they can get a better understanding of what this really means, what's possible? Anything that you're willing to share there would be helpful.
Yeah. So I became aware of this work, this beautiful work, Amber, and I became aware of your book, Infinite Impact, and I picked it up exactly 1 year ago.
Sorry, I just had to share this is her story. We're digging into it right now. And okay, please continue.
So I picked up your book, Infinite Impact, 1 year ago. And as I started to read it, I felt myself. And it was needed at that time because, like I said, the journey I've been on, it's been a soul journey. And so there was so much that I appreciated that book was bringing up in me. And as I was walking through the exercises, and it was reconnecting me to pieces of myself that I wanted to drag forward and bring forward into this journey that I've been on. And it also allowed me to connect to my avatar, Samantha. And as I've been going forward with, my coaching and my intuitive readings and how I serve my clients and the people around me, I didn't have the full clarity of really knowing too that in addition to all my clients that they come to me and what they're needing help with, that specifically that person that says, I feel like there's more for me. I'm feeling called to make a shift or a change or to something more. Through your work, I was able to say, I so understand that. And I want to make sure that I'm becoming the person that I needed when I was 21, when I was 22, when I was 23, to be that and make sure that I enrichen my confidence to step into the shoes of knowing I can serve myself at age 21, 22, 23 and beyond. And for all of the others, and no matter what age you are, that you have that whisper, that calling for more. I want to be there for you and support you because I understand the struggles and the beauties and all the complexities of that.
With Samantha and this process of getting into alignment, you uncovered that your unmet need was empowerment. What does that mean to you? And how has that shifted the way that you interact with your clients inside of marketing and just in general in the world?
Yeah. So empowerment, it's extremely meaningful. And I know that it's tied. So I have dyslexia. And as I was going through the school system and I was in a rural setting, there wasn't a diagnosis, but, I was going through and, at times getting assistance, at times not, at times receiving criticism from educators and just, all the things that can create limiting beliefs that we carry forward in our adult lives. So what I was able to identify is that in those moments, I didn't feel empowered. And that for many of years in my education system, I wasn't put in a place to really be. And knowing how important that is, I want for any individual that's before me, whether it's a clerk at the grocery store, it's my children, it's my mom, it's my friends, it's the stranger on the street, that my hope is that my energy can connect with you, give you love, but also to empower you in your life. And how important that is, because what I know is that when we can step into our power and feel empowered, that then gives us the ability to take action. And in order to answer the callings of our life, in order to make changes, it does require action. So that empowerment piece is really important.
And I'm curious, when you're projecting out empowerment to everybody, what does that give to you in return? What's that experience like today?
Yeah. Well, when I know that I'm able to do that for others, it naturally comes right back to me, and it fills my soul, and it allows me to feel my own empowerment, and allows me to feel empowered. And in addition, what happens too is I feel energized and I feel motivated. And I know that then in that energy, that is then transferred again to the person that's, before me, because also to answer those whispers and to move forward in our lives in the ways that we're feeling called to and that we desire and that we want. It's really great to have the motivation and the energy. We need those things as well, in addition to feeling empowered.
Yeah. It's kind of like when your stomach starts rumbling, right? And you're, what is your need at that moment? Well, I need food. I'm hungry, right? Yeah. We all have needs, right? The mouth gets dry and all of a sudden you get lightheaded. What is the body need? I need water, right? Or I'm cold, I need a jacket, right? And so I'm oversimplifying this idea, but we all have needs. It's not selfish. It's just a part of the human experience. The challenge that I have found in 20 years of working with entrepreneurs is that there are these deeper needs that they don't know what they are. They're completely unaware of these needs. So when they get to the point of needing to be visible online, they come to me because they say, Amber, I'm ready. I want a website. I want to market. I need to get my book launched. And what would happen is they would get right up to that 1 yard line and stop. And they would start to implode emotionally. I would watch it unfold. It was hard for me because, especially me wanting to save everybody, and it just felt like there was nothing I could do to reach these individuals. But what it was is a fear of visibility, a fear of success, a fear of failure, something around there. So when you are launching your website, you're launching your book, all of the stuff, all of your beliefs from, all the times where you stuck your neck out in the world and it didn't work, your brain starts firing saying, danger, danger, we're in so much trouble right now, retreat, retreat. And it starts mapping an escape plan, sabotaging what the heart really desires, which is to be in service to others. And I see as these entrepreneurs are at odds with each other, war inside of themselves, and they don't know what to do. So I tried to be good enough, strong enough to save them from themselves and get that damn book launched anyway, and get the website launched anyway. But what I saw was that it was just this perpetual cycle. Then they started to struggle with marketing and they couldn't stay consistent. And I thought, oh my gosh, how can I solve for this? And so one day I'm sitting at my computer and I think, of all of the thousands of people I've spoken to over the years, what do they all have in common? They're out of alignment. What the heck does that mean? And I started looking at the deeper work of what I do to help people come up with an avatar. What is your real vision and why? Not just what sounds good on paper. And then why are you doing the thing? What need does it fill in you first? Like the need for hunger, the need for water, the need for a jacket. There's another need for empowerment. There's a need for freedom. There's a need for joy, for safety, for validation, for love. In this book, Infinite Impact Stories of Alignment, again, launching September 9th, everybody almost entirely has a different set of needs. This process of getting into alignment is like a 15-20 minute visualization to help uncover all of this again, so you get right with you. You are living in line with your deepest values, beliefs, and needs. That's the conversation that we're having here. So I just want to remind you, kind of give you that scope. Some of you are popping in and out of this live stream or watching the replay at different times. So what we're here talking about is getting into alignment. And then we're casting a light on the difference between Kathleen and Claudia and Lynn and myself, of how that's shifted our own lives and our own businesses and how it's pouring back into us and meeting our own needs, which is creating this like peace and this fulfillment. And Lynn, I mean, I'll be the first to admit my life isn't perfect. It's not like easy as, peaches and rainbows and butterflies. I'm living the human experience. It's hard. I'm a single mom. I'm a business owner. I have goals. I have aging parents. There's responsibilities, there's hopes and dreams and aspirations, but there's something about alignment that just softens us on the inside. It's like we're no longer at odds with each other. We can have these honest conversations publicly in ways that we might not have done years ago. Right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Yeah. So with that in mind, I want to dig a little bit into some of your work as a coach. And what are some of the types of coaching clients that you're working with? How are you helping people move through all of the different scenarios of where they are? Just kind of like I shared my story of where my clients are. Where are your clients? What role are you trying to solve for? What's your vision? I want to dig into a little bit of that for just a
minute. Well, so there's different ways that I serve. And, one of the beautiful things with alignment, I have a very strong intuitive side, and I offer what's called intuitive readings. And that's another thing, what I appreciate about your book, Amber, Infinite Impact, is that it brings in the concrete things that we need to be in this world, this earthly world. Yep. The other part that I liked is that there was very much, I could tell that you were connected to that intuition. And it's that energy, and it's tapping into that and feeling it and gaining data and knowledge from that, because although it might be unseen, it is very real. And so I could tell that there's that connection. And I felt like this is my home, because I understand this intuitive and this energy and being able to read that. And I also understand the concrete things we need to drive ourselves forward to meet our goals and so forth. So one of the things I offer are intuitive readings, and that's really open to any individual, whether it's that they have an inner calling or they have something that they need clarity, direction, or guidance around. And pretty much they can bring anything to me, and I will work with them and dance with them. I always say we're taking a dance here and sense into to give them the most knowledge that they can have to where they can feel peace and have clarity and make their next steps so they're not stuck. The other thing is I'm an alignment guide, and I love this work. I love being able to expose people to discover their personal alignment, because when you get into an alignment, it's such a personal experience. It's unique to you. And what happens through that is that you will identify keywords. And once you know what your keywords are, and you can only find those out once you go through this alignment session, is when you know those keywords. And this is why I think it's there's this simplicity with bringing this alignment and allowing to very quickly to start living it daily and implementing it daily. It's because of the simplicity of these keywords that you learn about yourself. And so I get such joy. Number one, I get giddy when I'm going through the session. I'm like, oh, that's their word. Okay. And then helping them to connect.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. I always am like, what's it going to be? Oh, what's their word going to be? But then helping them to connect to that and how they can apply that in their personal life, but also your professional life, or if you're an entrepreneur. So that's another great joy that I have. And then of course it's transformational intuitive coaching. And that is just taking forward any of the things that you learn in your readings with me, in your alignment sessions. And when you have the inner calling for more, when you have that whisper that makes you know internally that there's something pulling towards you, but you have no idea. You don't know how to connect with it fully, because sometimes even that's a challenge, connecting with the energy of what that is. And that's what I'd say is, your inner calling, when you have those nudges for more, I know of them to being connected to even a deeper place, and that's the soul place, to your soul. And so it can take a bit to understand, to even how to connect with it, to understand what that energy is sharing with you, and then how to take action on it. So through my coaching of helping them to do that.
Yeah, it's just important to have somebody you can talk to about this. I know a lot of people feel like they don't have a spouse or a friend or somebody that they can talk to about what is their true experience and what wants to emerge. And that's why we have alignment guides, and they all are certified in transformational life coaching as well. So they are a very safe professional space to do this extended work should somebody want that. I just want to shine a little bit of attention on, I'm going to share my screen one more time. So this is our book sales page, again, releasing September 9th. You can come back here, opt in to get bonuses. One bonus is a 4-week group alignment coaching program that I am running. And then you can have the original Infinite Impact in full PDF upfront for you, as well as some additional training. Kathleen was able to shine a light on the bonuses that she is offering. Lynn, can you speak a little bit more into your bonus, please? And all you have to do is get one copy of the book and you can get access to Lynn's bonus.
Yes. So I have a 3-part series of helping you to connect with, understand, and take action on your inner calling, really going into explain more of the experience of having that whisper for more and then what to do with it. And I also have a PDF action guide to help you to connect even further and deeper to your inner calling to see what is it asking of you. And I do have a special offer where you can connect with me for a free 30-minute, and we'll talk about what it is.
Free 30-minute session to explore your next step. So just going to see if she can come back here in just a moment. Lynn is phenomenal. I'm not kidding. I am constantly getting messages back from people saying that they love, her Samantha's, right? So my Heather's and Kathleen's Grace's, right? So these different authors are going to be speaking to you in different ways, right? And you'll know which one is right for you, which one resonates for you. That's why we're not here in competition of one another. We are in here in total support of one another. So in this book, Infinite Impact, Stories of Alignment, the power is for individuals who feel like they're hiding a little bit, like they don't know who to talk to or what to say, but they have these feelings, they have these thoughts, they're moving toward their legacy, time is ticking. And by reading these very fast, intimate, deep stories that are all authentically written, zero AI in this book. I even have here on the front that this is human made. That is really important to me to protect everybody's stories and voices. But by moving through these chapters, you'll be able to see which ones really resonate with you. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of the real conversations inside of Infinite Impact. So next week, we go live with 3 additional authors in 90 minutes back to back. If you pay attention to my socials at Amber Vilhauer, I always post the dates and times and names of people that I'm interviewing a week in advance so that you can block that time out to your calendar. And of course, I will always leave the replays available. I see Lynn is popping back in, so I will bring you back up in just a second, Lynn. But the replays will be available on my social media accounts as well. So if you have a day job or you can't tune in live, then of course you're still going to be able to get access to that content. On September 9th in the morning, at 9 a.m. Mountain, all of the authors will be coming together in celebration to talk about this process, each here to support you in different ways. So Lynn, back over to you. We were talking about what that 30-minute session as part of your bonus will help them explore, if you want to complete that for us.
Yes, sorry about that. My power just went out. So I'm joining on my phone. So then if you feel that you would like to have an alignment session, you actually will receive a 50% savings on that amazing session. And I would love to connect with you for sure. So thank you so much for having me, Amber, and thank you for this opportunity. And I'm just so proud of you and all of the authors and this great work that we can offer to everybody. Your alignment, I want everybody in humanity to know what their alignment is.
Me too.
Have a world of aligned individuals. It'd be beautiful.
Yeah, because then we don't have to keep pretending and holding it all up. We can just be true to ourselves and in service to each other. And this isn't like an airy fairy thing that we're talking about. I mean, I have a very successful business. I'm very grounded in practicality and what's really happening in the world. It's just that I'm not imprisoned by myself anymore. I'm not in denial. I don't have that insecurity or those fears that I used to have. So this is just real, raw, genuine work. And both are, available to you. And with that, what would really be meaningful to me is, for those of you viewing, if you could please just drop a comment wherever you are and let me know what you appreciated about whatever segment you were able to watch. What did you appreciate about this time here? As the speakers and authors are pouring so much into you, it's just a way to return a gift back unto them to feel seen and heard and valued as well. So what did Kathleen or Claudia or Lynn or myself say that really spoke to you today? And please feel to reach out to these incredible women if you'd like to explore a little bit further with them. And other than that, we'll see you next week as we continue the series, and we will see you live on September 9th for the release of this book. I want to thank you so much. Bye, everyone.